Good morning and welcome to the Planning Hearing Officer hearing for December 1st, 2024 at 9:33 a.m. My name is Eileen Babakani and I will be conducting the hearing as hearing officer today. The Planning Hearing Officer meeting is being broadcast live on Glendale TV, viewable on Spectrum Cable, Channel 6 and AT&T viewers and Channel 99. Meetings are also streamlined live in high definition on the city's webpage, glendaleca.gov/live, also on youtube.com/myglendale, and on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire, and iOS and Android devices using a free app called Cablecast, choosing Glendale TV from the menu. Meetings are also archived on the city's website for viewing anytime at glendaleca.gov/agendas. For public comments and questions during the meeting, please call 818-937-8100. City staff will be submitting the questions and comments in real time to the appropriate person. This morning, we have one case involving two discretionary permit applications. For the hearing procedure, I will read the description of the project, and also the case planner will make a brief overview of the case, and also will state the recommended conditions and findings for the case. The applicant will then be asked to call on to present. The applicant will have 15 minutes to speak, and the applicant may split the time between the designer and the owner of the property. Others in support or in opposition to these applications and any interested parties will be called on to give comments. The time limit will be 3 minutes for each individual. Lastly, the applicant will be given the opportunity to make closing comments if desired in response to testimonies, and the time limit will be 5 minutes. At the time, planning hearing officer may ask questions from the applicant. Then the hearing will be closed and the case will be taken under submission. For the findings of this application, if the evidence presented in the applications and at the hearing meet the required findings set forth in municipal code, then the project can either be approved or approved with conditions. If the findings of fact are not evident, then the request will be denied. For the decision procedure, after the hearing, the decision will be prepared in writing and will be in the form of a letter sent to the applicant and to all persons who responded to the public notice, either by speaking at the hearing or by submitting written responses and have provided their name and mailing address. The date of the decision will be the date appearing on the letter. Records of the decision for all projects will be posted online on the Planning Division website. For the information regarding the appeal procedure, under the appeal provisions of Title 30, Chapter 30.62 of the Glendale Municipal Code, the decision may be appealed to the Planning Commission within 15 days of the date of the decision. Anyone wishing to appeal must file using the city's online permit portal. For any additional information regarding the appeal process and submittal, please contact the case planner. For the public noticing process, notification of this hearing was accomplished by the use of public notices, which were mailed to the property owners and occupants located within 500 feet of the subject property. Public notices were also physically posted on the site in question and placed in the local newspaper. I would like to also inform everyone that the official proceeding of the planning hearing officer hearing are being televised live and may be viewed online on the city's website. Now I will go over the request. The location of the project is 707 North Pacific Avenue, Glendale, California, 91020, with the assessor parcel number to 5636-016-061. The case numbers are PCUP-0033 00-2024. This is for the conditional use permit application, and PAUP-004144-2024, and this is for the administrative use permit application. The applicants stated on the applications are Ara Parsegian and Abraham Stepanian. The owner of the property is listed at Pacific 2017 LLC, and the business name is Grand Manor, Inc. For the project description, the applicant requests approval of a conditional use permit to establish a banquet hall with entertainment, subject to the standard listed in the Glendale Municipal Code, Chapter 5.16, through the adaptive reuse of a former retail building, including a 1,469 square foot mezzanine addition, an outdoor patio, and also an outdoor deck, and a new drop-off and pickup area. And also, the applicant is requesting an administrative use permit for the on-site sales, service, and consumption of alcohol beverages. The project includes an AB 2097 parking exception to allow 15 parking instead of the required 243 parking spaces for this new use. And the 1.16 acre project site is in the community commercial or C2 zone. Now I will turn this to the case planner, Mr. Alan Lamberg, so you can start your presentation for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Planning and Hearing Officer Babakani. Good morning, members of the public. My name is Alan Lamberg. I am the case planner for this project. The application under consideration is the conditional use permit to establish a banquet hall with entertainment subject to the standards listed in the Glendale Municipal Code, Chapter 516, and the administrative use permit to allow sales, service, and consumption of alcoholic beverages at this address at 707 North Pacific Avenue. I won't repeat the case number and proposal and CEQA information as the Planning Hearing Officer Babakani has gone over that, so I will proceed with the next items in our agenda here. The project location is at the southwest corner of North Pacific Avenue and Burchett Street in the C2 Community Commercial Zone. Here we see the site plan, existing and proposed, where a drive-through lane and 6 parking spaces will be removed for a new covered entry and outdoor enclosed patio. A 50-space parking lot with a drop-off area and pickup area. The building entry faces west and is situated near the front of Burchett Street. A new enclosed outdoor deck faces east toward Pacific Avenue. And an exterior remodel of the building and the site will undergo a separate design review process. In the floor plans, the mezzanine, which is an internal floor inside the building. It includes a 1,760 square foot addition where that will provide for an accessory office. And the main floor includes a commercial kitchen and a banquet room with approximately 4,800 square foot, that's 4,800 square feet assembly area for seating and viewing. And there's an area for a stage here as well. The assembly areas for the east outdoor patio, and again, the east outdoor patio is generally facing Burchett Street. That is approximately 1,100 square feet of potential assembly area. And then on the west outdoor deck facing Pacific Avenue is approximately 2,600 square feet. So with a total of 8,500 square foot of assembly area, we factor the parking regulations, the zoning code, by 28.6 parking spaces per 1,000 square feet to get the parking demand of 243 spaces. The present building is a single tenant, 1-story, with a mezzanine inside. It's a commercial building that was constructed in 2017. Its sole tenants, it will be the sole tenant in one building, which was formerly a retail pharmacy on the same 1.16-acre property. 2 separate driveways on Burchett Street provide access to the parking lot and loading area of the property. In 2017, a portion of Burchett Street was widened closer to the Pacific Avenue intersection that leads up to the turning into this, basically into the turn lane of this entryway. That was widened to include a middle turning lane to provide access. The staff report demonstrates that the 4 required findings of fact for a conditional use permit and an administrative use permit have been made for the project. In finding of fact A, the proposed continual use will be consistent with the various elements and objectives of the general plan. A banquet hall in the community commercial zone is permitted with the conditional and administrative use permits, aligning with general plan goals and by promoting economic improvement and safeguarding residential neighborhoods through adherence to traffic management, parking, and soundproofing standards. The site is designated as commercial services, ensuring careful project impact review. The banquet hall's location among complementary commercial uses benefits the community while minimizing neighborhood disruption. The project aligns with circulation element objectives, maintaining current traffic levels with fully developed infrastructure and supporting future high-quality transit corridors. Noise element objectives will be met with insulation features and compliance with noise control ordinances. The project does not impact other general plan elements, avoiding harm to the environment, historic places, housing, open spaces, recreation, and safety. For finding of fact B, to ensure that the use will not be detrimental to the public or the environment, the subject property is in Census Tract 3017.01 with no existing on-sale establishments for service of alcohol. According to the Glendale Police Department, that census tract in 2023 reported 183 crimes, which is 42% below the city average, and there is no pending alcoholic beverage control license in this census tract. The Glendale Police Department reports that that this location is in a census tract with less than the recommended maximum concentration of on-site uses, and there are no proposed off-site uses, off-site such as like a retail liquor store, for example. This is an on-site use, say for a banquet hall. In lining with the California Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control recommendations. The proposed use will not contribute to adverse impacts from over-concentration or intensify crime, as it is not in a high-crime district. Conditions of approval will mitigate potential negative impacts, including active on-site management, security measures, and surveillance to ensure a safe environment. The applicant has applied for necessary permits and will seek discretionary entitlement also for design review upon approval of this entitlement. For finding of fact C, to ensure that the use is compatible with surrounding uses and properties. The project area is surrounded by less intensive commercial uses, and it limits its impact on nearby residential areas. There are no daycare centers, hospitals, libraries, or places of worship within a 500-foot radius. However, there is a music school and a park facility and the residential neighborhood, which are nearby. There are, in fact, 20 residences that front Burchett Street within 400 feet of the property. The banquet hall for private events restricts public access, but it includes alcohol sales and entertainment, such as dancing and music, and which does require strict regulations to prevent disturbances from noise, traffic, parking, and other disruptive behavior. Conditions of approval will manage alcohol service, operating hours, entertainment, noise, security, and cleanliness, ensuring a balanced environment and harmonious development. For finding of fact D, which relates to ensuring adequate facilities that exist for this use, the establishment will be well-equipped with necessary utilities and landscaping due to tenant improvements and related permits, ensuring that no impediments to stormwater drainage devices occur, for example, because their deck is over a stormwater basin. Although parking demand is expected to more than double compared to its previous use as a retail pharmacy, parking needs will need to be met through on-site parking and valet services and additional off-site parking secured through lease agreements, according to the applicant. Conditions of approval will ensure that the project provides necessary utilities, stormwater management, and compliance with traffic and parking regulations, including effective traffic circulation measures and adequate parking management with valet services, ensuring compatibility with existing infrastructure and minimal impact on the surrounding community. I do have a point of clarification. In the draft conditions and the draft findings of fact, there was a statement that said no alterations will be allowed that would reduce the existing parking facilities. That was written in error. It should read, alterations will be allowed that would reduce the existing parking spaces to 50 due to the AB 2097 parking exception. So as for the findings of fact, the report also demonstrates that the additional criteria that's required for an administrative use permit for alcohol sales and service have been made for the project. In addition to the 4 findings of fact that we just went over, the additional criteria shows that the request is in alignment with recommendations from the Glendale Police Department and California Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control. The proposed use is permissible in the census tract. It is not a high crime area and will not negatively impact surrounding uses, providing adequate parking and loading facilities, includes conditions to mitigate potential negative impacts, and promotes a public convenience and economic improvement. Okay. Oh, yeah, those were the, that's actually, what you see on the screen was just the criteria that we use for the administrative use permit. Okay. Public comments were received regarding this case, approximately 13 as of yesterday, plus 3 this morning, and they were all forwarded, acknowledged and forwarded to the planning hearing officer for her consideration. Other city departments' comments were, and their recommendations of conditions of approval were also, which are imposed on similar projects, were also included in the report and draft conditions. Given all the information presented here and in this staff report, and with the recommended conditions of approval, which the conditions of approval are found on the draft conditions, draft findings of fact exhibit, the staff recommends that the conditional use permit and administrative use permit be approved. This concludes my presentation, and I am available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lambert. I will have some questions for you, and I would like to mention that I received all the comments that public made for this project. I read them, and I will consider them before making the decision. I would like also to mention that we have also comments from various departments from the city, and the comments are included in the staff report in Exhibit 6. Building and safety comments are standard comments for a project similar to this project would be, And there is a comment from Neighborhood Services Department that there is a code compliance case for unpermitted interior work. Also, we have comments from Police Department. Most of the comments and conditions are from Police Department are standard condition that what they usually have for a consumption or sale of alcohol beverages. However, they have some additional conditions and comments, including having security guards and 2 security guards and 1 banquet manager to be present during the events. Some other conditions about no group sitting shall be installed, which completely prohibits observation of the occupants. And most of these conditions have been applied as recommended condition in the staff report. We also have comments from Public Works Traffic Engineering, and they seem to be standard comments as well. We have comments from Public Works Urban Forestry Office, and they are mentioning that they didn't observe any protected indigenous tree on the property or within 20 feet of the property, and there are street trees, and they require the street trees to be maintained. And also standard comments from water engineering and electric engineering. With that, I will move to the questions that I have for you. For the environmental of this project, this is exempt, right? Can you
That is correct.
clarify
Exempt
that?
under Class 1 existing facilities.
Okay. And then you said the required parking would be 243?
Yes, according to the zoning code, the parking demand for this use is 243 spaces.
Okay, and how many spaces will be removed in order to create that outdoor patio?
From what my count, 6 spaces, including that drive-through.
Okay, if they have 60 spaces right now,
So the resulting parking spaces
and 6
as
will be
proposed is
removed.
50.
Okay. So the total of 54 parking will remain?
50 remain.
How many we have right now on the side?
Let's see, let
How
me
many
look back
parking
again on, the site currently has 60 spaces,
Okay,
right? I think it's because some spaces are being restriped and to provide for the pickup drop-off area, so that would result in a total net of 50 spaces for the project.
and then pickup drop-off area would be within the parking space, within the parking lot?
That's correct.
Okay. Can you show that area on the site plan on the
Yes.
screen?
This is the site plan that's proposed, and this is oriented not north, it's at a 90-degree angle. As you see, Burchett Street is here, and Pacific Avenue is here. And so at the driveway, which is, there's 2 driveway cuts, and then in this hatched area is the pickup drop-off area.
Okay. Okay.
Oops, yeah. There you go.
There is an indication on page 6 of your report. I believe it was in your report or it was under the findings. So there's an indication of the establishment will include noise installation features to meet building and safety standards. I would like to know if this has been verified, and are you aware of any features or?
We have not verified that yet. We know that it was as part of the applicant's request that that was indicated that would be part of the project, but we're not at the stage where we were able to review at that level of detail. This
But
might be something that we would
That is a
address.
plan.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask that question from the designer and applicant
Okay.
as well. I think that's all of my question for you, Mr. Lambert. We may have now the applicant to come forward, Mr. Oras Parkisian.
Good morning, everyone.
If you can hold the time, 15 minutes.
Thank you, Planning Hearing Officer Babakhani, for hearing our application. Thank you, Mr. Lambert, for a great detailed presentation and the great work you've done on the project so far. I have here the business owner of Grand Manor, Inc., Abraham, and also the architect of the project, Alan Malekian. Today, I want to present to you our side and let you know as far as all the conditions that have been put in place, we did go over it with the applicant, with the business owner, and they are satisfactory, and certain ones are going to be exceeding what is required. So we're happy to see that there is a benchmark for us. And then as far as the industry is concerned, we will have pretty much everything in place. The business owner has other locations in Los Angeles that he operates. So he's not new to this. He's experienced a lot of he has experience in this business, and also he's had neighbors that have complained, but on his previous projects, but he's ratified it. He's made sure that it's been taken care of, and he's been operating for many years without any complaints from any of the neighborhood. The outdoor venue will not have events. It's just a rest area, more of a, catch a breath of fresh air. So they're not spilling onto the streets. That's what it's mainly for. There's not going to be any entertainment, any live music, or anything there, just to clarify. Having said that, if there's any other questions, Mr. Lambert did cover pretty much everything, but if there's any detailed questions, we'll be happy to answer those.
I will have questions, but let's first hear from the speakers, from the audience, neighbors, and whoever is interested.
Absolutely.
And then I will call you again.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay, may I have Rodney Roher? Oh, do you want to add something, Mr. Malikian? Let's first hear the audience and then. Make sure you state your name, and you will have 3 minutes.
Randy Rohr, and I'm a property owner in Glendale, multiple properties. And the Perrys, they own a piece of property that's about a block on the next block in back of this, which I put on the card there. On this notice, it states 300 parking spaces, or 312 are required, but you corrected it, and it's now 240, 243. This is 20% of what the required is. So you're asking for an exception of 80%, basically. The notice does not provide a clear or detailed plan for mitigating the overabundance of traffic and vehicles in the surrounding area. There's residential, not directly across the street, but across the street and adjacent, going down the street. The request for such an extensive parking exception is not consistent with the goals and objectives outlined in the Glendale redevelopment area and the city's general plan. The applicant has not demonstrated any exceptional circumstances or conditions that would justify this exception. The property in question is subject to the same zoning and parking requirements as other properties in the area, and no unique physical characteristics or development conditions have been identified that would prevent the project from meeting the required parking provisions. Without showing a compelling reason why this property should be treated differently from others, there is no such basis for granting such an extraordinary exception. I could see if it was, they're short by 50 spaces, but, you know, they're short by 180 spaces. I made my math off. You mentioned that the applicant's going to obtain some leases for parking. Are these leases going to be recorded against the property that they get leases from? Have you seen the leases? And are those leases for this time period of what the lease is? I guess it's a lease, it's not a, not purchase, I don't know. But it should be for the length, these leases should be for the amount of time that this is granted. And they should be recorded against the property. So I hope they provide this, if it gets this far. Personally, I don't see how we got this far having 80% deficit in parking, 80% deficit in parking. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person, Art Garipian.
Yeah, my name is Art Gribian. I live at 536 Burchett Street. To me, this project, the banquet hall project, I think it has two sides. First, it's profitable. It is good for economy. On the other side, it is really bad for this already short and narrow street for a residence. Because on one side, we have the Fremont Park. We had already that issue. Of course, it's been stopped because they're doing some construction. Soon this construction will be done. It will be open again. People are coming. All this noise, all this traffic creates some issue for us. Again, because we are living in short and narrow street. And people park their car over our house, in front of our house. We come from the work and there's no parking lot for us. It is issue. Yet this project, again, it is good for economy, but it's bad for us, for our residents, because once it's open, it's gonna create more issue for us, more headache for us. Obviously, people don't want to pay $15, $20, $25 for the what is it, parking, right? They're gonna have to park on our street. It creates more issue again. They might stay up until what, 1 p.m. at the time we are sleeping, and our car, who knows, be parked, right? Noise issue, parking issue, people who get drunk and start making noise and fighting as it happens. So I don't know. To me, the security has to be very strong if this project will be done. And then we might ask for preferential parking for our residents, because definitely we are having issue as of now. Imagine if this project will be start, then what? We are going to be in really, really bad shape, stressful. So think about it, help us, whatever. That's all I can say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Cynthia King.
Hi.
Hello.
We live directly across the street from this facility, so our driveway is
If you
directly.
can, please mention your name, if you
Oh, yeah,
would like your
Cynthia.
address as well.
Yeah, Cynthia King, 503 Burchett. I thought you had it in front of you, so.
Yes?
Yeah, so we live directly across the street. Our driveway is directly across the street from the driveway for this facility. So we are certainly directly impacted by anything that's happening over there. And so when I look through the things, the conditions that they have to meet, it's already been noted, this street is very narrow, and it's a very small neighborhood. There's no natural sound barriers, there's not a lot of trees. Like, I think it would be very challenging to create any kind of sound protection that is, that is going to protect us from any kind of gathering of big people, big gathering of people happening there. It's just, it's not conceivable. I think the first question I would ask almost anybody in terms of adverse effect on your environment is, would you want a banquet hall built directly across the street from your home? Do you think that that would not impact you in any way, right? I mean, that speaks to even the value of our homes in terms of people, one of the conditions is it going to affect the surrounding development and the value of those things? Yes, it would absolutely negatively impact the value of our homes. In terms of crime, yes, we are a low crime area now, but now you're talking about bringing in a bunch of people, regularly that are only there for one time. It's not even the same as a family restaurant or another business where people kind of have a vest in the community where this is their neighborhood. This is not their neighborhood. People are going to be coming from anywhere. And, not that people are evil, but they don't think about the fact that this is where someone lives, and they bring things in and they leave their trash, and they're very loud when they're coming in and out. And at an event where there's going to be alcohol and people get into skirmishes and things happen, you can't tell me that there isn't a threat of increased crime as a result of this being brought in. And that's the whole point. We are a low crime area, and now that doesn't mean that it's going to prevent these people from coming in from doing anything. So I think those are concerns that need to be addressed. And then in terms of the parking, that is such a huge number of spaces to not have secured for that. And I know they talk about valet, but can you imagine the lineup of over 100 cars trying to get ready for valeting on this small street? There isn't the capacity. And of course, people are not going to want to wait to valet. They're going to try and park anywhere in the neighborhood regardless, and they're going to use up all the parking first, for sure. And at the end of the block, they talked about not having impact on things like parks and things. There is a park at the end of the street. And so that's going to impact the activities and stuff at the park. So it's just hard to understand that, these conditions they're saying that have been met, and it just doesn't feel like they have been.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
We have next speaker, Christina King.
My name is Christine King, also co-owner at 503 Burchett Street, right across the street from the proposed development. I just want to reiterate the idea of if there is valet parking, that there would be waits and lines for that, for dropping off cars, which would end up going down the street, because you can see from the diagram, there's not room for the cars to pull off the street if they're waiting for that valet parking. And the valet parking then would have to be driving the cars somewhere else to go park them. Same thing at time for pickup. All those cars are coming back down the street to bring the cars back. Again, we're going to have a flux of traffic at pickup and drop-off time. For people who do park on the street nearby, they're going to be walking several blocks past all the houses late in the evening, whatever time it gets out. That's a safety concern for the neighborhood. It's a safety concern for the guests as well. They could be walking a couple of blocks. There's my understanding is that exemption has to do with public transit. Reality, how many people going to a wedding are going to take the bus to the event? It's a several block walk to the bus on Glen Oaks. The businesses are all closed, so it's dark and quiet. It's not necessarily going to be a safe, pleasant walk. After a wedding, the bus stop does not have any shelter. They run on an hourly basis. I really don't see anyone utilizing public transportation to get to and from the event. So I don't see how that public transit exemption can be argued in this case. Those are my main concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, we have Kathleen Middleburg.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name's Kathleen Middlebrooks, and I live at 534 Hahn Avenue. I'm going to speak for the overflow for the Hahn Avenue. I agree with a lot of my neighbors that I'm very concerned about the parking issue, number one, because of the fact that not only with the excess of not having enough spaces on the parking, but also what's the concern about how many employees are going to be working at this facility and where are they going to be parking? I already have an issue with parking on my street from the office building that's directly across from me because they work till 8 p.m. on many nights, as well as the big square. None of their employees are allowed to park on their lot, so they park on my street. This is fine, but right now we don't have the park that's been reopened. Once the park is reopened and we have this big, beautiful soccer field, this big, beautiful pickleball courts, these big, beautiful tennis courts, they've already indicated that there's not enough spaces for the park alone. So once both of these entities are going, where are the neighbors? Where are my relatives? Where are my friends? Where am I supposed to park? My neighborhood is a lot of converted garages. We already are doubled up in parking. So the situation of having a whole nother facility on top of a reopening Fremont Park concerns me. As far as the noise goes, I agree with my neighbors. I think if you're going to have things late at night, there is nowhere that noise is not going to carry. The noise, I already hear the freeway noise at 3 a.m. I can imagine what it's like when there's a party that's going on and that's getting out at 1 a.m. The noise will carry. It carries now. As far as the environmental impact, if you have all these cars that are sitting, waiting, trying to turn from Pacific Avenue into a valet, you're going to have constant smog. You're going to have constant noise. It is going to be an environmental impact. For my neighbors, that means they're going to hear the noise constantly on Burchett. So those are the concerns that I have, is how is this park in relation to this facility going to work? We are very short streets, and there isn't parking going to be available once the park reopens, let alone when this facility opens. Thank you.
Thank you. I have the next speaker, Harvey. Mr. Harvey.
First, I would like to thank you, Eileen, thank you, and Alan, thank you, City of Glendale, for letting us and having this opportunity to talk.
No problem, but can you
So-
please state your name, full name?
Yeah, full name
For
Hardy
the-
Gragosian, and I
Okay,
live on Burchett Street. I feel very bad for the owner, I feel very bad for the applicant, that they have gone through this contract and bringing trees, doing some structure there. So I feel very bad. Why the city doesn't somehow work before to go all this chaos and give us the opportunity to talk? Right now, I feel so bad for them. They have gone so much, and now you say, oh, you cannot come here. So it's completely, I feel bad. But, how I said, I have the same concern as other have here. And I feel strongly that we cannot do anything other than the preferential parking, as Art told you. So, but my main concern, again, are you going to have a restaurant there? Are you going to use it as a restaurant during the weekday? Who is going to answer this question? Are they going to have a restaurant?
they will come forward, and if they feel they need, they will answer the question.
So I need to know, because it's very important. If you are going to put a restaurant there also, then it means we will have the impact of traffic all the week, not only the weekend. And are you going to put a valet parking? If the question yes, are you going to put one of those $20, $25 of parking so people will go away from parking in a valet and they will park in my driveway? Are you going to do that free parking? So I would like you to consider those things, which I'm pretty sure you will come there, definitely. At least take those consideration. Free parking, if do not have a restaurant, don't open a restaurant and during the weekdays. So at least we'll be a little bit comfortable, those 20 houses living in that section of the street, narrow street. Anyhow, that's my... And also, how you are going to monitor either conditional use or recommended conditions. How are you going to monitor? You told me that you have a nice person that he has other venues that he knows exactly what he's doing, so that's good news for us. But again, how are you going to monitor the behavior of people outside the venue? So if you can work those things, if we know definitely, hey, you're going to do this, 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 it might release some of our concern. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I have next speaker, Marty, is it Graves?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, thank you for this opportunity to speak. I have many similar concerns. I live at 521 Burchett. I have owned the property since 1978. And as a longtime resident and the Neighborhood Watch block captain, I am deeply concerned about the negative impact that this project would have on our neighborhood and surrounding neighborhoods as well. Parking obviously is a huge issue. The request for a parking exception that would allow only 50 spaces instead of the 243 is unreasonable. There is a lack of adequate parking as defined in the permits, causing a reliance on surface streets, private, and neighborhood parking. This would increase parking congestion in an already overburdened neighborhood. My question is, are Burchett and surrounding streets going to be changed to metered, permit-only, or timed permit-only status when Fremont Park reopens? Obviously, as my neighbors have said, there will definitely be a more severe parking and flow of traffic issue. As far as the traffic goes, in Section A of Findings and Facts, it says the proposal use aligns with the circulation element by not increasing traffic levels beyond current levels. That is a totally false and ridiculous statement. Increased traffic from the banquet hall would create unsafe conditions for residents and pedestrians. The proposal also states that Pacific Avenue, which is a major arterial, can handle heavy traffic volumes, while Burchett Street supports residential needs with low traffic volumes and a wide roadway for a middle turn lane. This statement is also untrue. Pacific can barely handle the current level of traffic. And Burchett is not, it's a very narrow street. And so that statement is totally untrue. Okay, as far as the noise issues, the large outdoor areas, well, the project says they're going to have insulation features. Well, that's great as far as the indoor, but the primary noise is going to come from the outdoor. So the proposal discusses the insulation features that would meet building standards, thus mitigating noise issues. But there's no reference to the outdoor areas, which would obviously increase noise and disruption to the neighborhood. Live entertainment and alcohol consumption will also disrupt the peace and quiet of our neighborhood. Our residents should not have to cope with consistent noise and related problems caused by an entertainment venue. As far as safety and security concerns, the sale and consumption of alcohol along with live entertainment increases the probability of trespassing, loitering, and other disturbances. This project would only increase the problems such as speeding, car noise, and gang activity that our neighborhood has been dealing with for years. As far as overall impact and neighborhood quality of life, our neighborhood is a family-oriented residential area. The introduction of this kind of facility would very negatively affect the quality of life of our residents. And for these reasons, I do not believe that this project is appropriate for the Fremont Park area.
Thank you so much. Next speaker, Betty.
My name is Betty McBride, and I've lived on Burchett for over 50 years, at 524 Burchett. And so I've been there before the freeway. And so I'm very familiar with the area, and this project is really too huge. Right now, we are impounded environmentally by all the traffic and the noise and the proximity to the freeway. And so this project, with all you've heard from all my neighbors, will only compound this problem that we already have. I mean, we have the traffic, we have people shortcutting from the northern part of Glendale coming down Burchett in the morning to go to the freeway. And coming home at night, going back to Burchett, that's one area where the neighboring areas are using our street to go to the freeway back and forth. Then right to, Starbucks has delivery truck coming to their facility 2 to 3 times a week delivering their products. And they park their big truck right at the end of the facility where Rite Aid is, either that area or across the street. And they're there for like 30 to 45 minutes with their motors running. We have all the exhaust coming from that and the noise. The acoustics in that area are really something, because I'm the main house right after the Rite Aid, and then the building next door, and there's my little house. And when Rite Aid was there, you could hear the young guys at night. They would be there late at night parked in their cars, and I could hear their conversations perfectly from my backyard. So the acoustics, if they have an orchestra, if they have any kind of noise, cars starting up and what have you, I will hear it perfectly, because it's unbelievable. The other thing that I wanted to mention, that the building next door has a lot of trucks making deliveries all day, going in and out, besides the regular delivery trucks, but they have other big trucks coming. So, and the street is narrow from our point on. They widen it up there for Rite Aid when they just widen a very small portion. But when you come down there, you have to be so careful. If you don't, you're gonna knock off all of the side view mirrors on the cars that are parked on the street. So my concern is the environment, and it's the traffic, which is very heavy, and the noise, which everyone has repeated, and the pollution. We not only get that, but pollution is a big thing, because we have the exhaust from all the cars and the trucks and the freeway.
Thank you so much. Now we'll move to the anyone who's waiting online to speak, and then let them know that they have 3 minutes to
Okay.
express their opinions.
Yes, we have 3 callers online. All right. So, okay, Mr. Adam Fleming, you are on the air. You have 3 minutes. Go ahead, please.
Excellent. Thank you so much. My name is Adam Fleming. I am the property owner and resident of 511 Burchett. I have owned and invested in improving my property in the city of Glendale for 13 years. I'm a proud resident of the city. My home is directly across from the driveway entrance to the facility in question. My property line is, in fact, 90 feet from the building itself. I would like to bring council's attention to the document Glendale Conditional Use Permits dated 12/1/2024, Chapter 30, 4230. Findings of fact, a conditional use permit shall be granted only if the review authority first finds that each of the following exists. I'll now jump to Section B. That the use and its associated structures and facilities will not be detrimental to the public health or safety, the general welfare, or the environment. I would now like to bring your council's attention to the Glendale noise element with Cover City for City Council, document number 51707, dated 6/5/2007. Page 32, Section 443, non-transportation noise sources, the noise ordinance. Banquet facilities interface with residences. Banquet facilities have several sources of noise. Generally, the parking lots associated with the facilities are the most significant source of noise. Cars driving into and out of the lots, groups of people talking and shouting, and inadvertent car alarms can all occur in the parking lot and can occur late at night when the banquet ends. Music is often played at banquet facilities and has the potential for being a problem in the surrounding area when doors and windows are left open. The City Council or the city does not allow banquet facilities within 200 feet of a residential zone. That's the end of my quotes from your documents. As has been indicated by the case planner, this C2 property directly borders an R1 zone. There are currently 16 private residences within 200 feet of the development's property line. This area is not governed by the downtown allowances for inherited proximity to these community resources. The council is potentially violating established Glendale ordinance by allowing a banquet facility under the minimum distance from a community center. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Fleming. Okay. Next, we have Miss Amber Avines. You have 3 minutes, please. Go ahead.
Hi. So So all of the neighbors have great points about the park and the noise and the delivery trucks and the noise outside of the facility. I want to elaborate on the traffic. So if I'm on the 400 block of Burchett, and even if you have off-site valet, what areas are they going to use for those valet lots? Are they going to trickle over into the neighborhood businesses that are already there and take parking spots away from people who are trying to support those businesses, or increase traffic as they try to get to any lots that they might have coordinated with to accept valet parking? And the Burchett Street is already, I've lived here for 4 years, and I've seen an increase in people using Burchett as a cut-through between Central and Pacific. And the traffic at that intersection of Burchett and Pacific is already bad with traffic from getting on and off the freeway. But of course, there's going to be an impact beyond that 500 block of Burchett Street, because either people will be parking in expanded areas around the neighborhood, or valets will be running around the neighborhood, taking up parking spots on the street or in neighboring businesses. And to say that 50 spaces is enough for huge parties is absolutely ridiculous. That it is not, and it's going to have a detrimental impact. And we're putting all this money as a city into the park to have a wonderful community space, but if people don't have the parking and the safety to be able to use that park, why did we spend the money to create a nice thing for our community if it's just going to be counterbalanced with something that's actually that our neighbors and our community is saying is bad for our community? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Amber Abenes. Our next caller is Mr. John Hagobian. John, you have 3 minutes, please. Go ahead. Oh, looks like he dropped off. We'll see if Mr. Hagobian calls back. We have Mr. John Avella on the line. Mr. John Avella, you have 3 minutes. Go ahead, please. He might have dropped off and called on another line. Let's try again. Mr. John Avella, are you on the line?
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay, yes, I can hear you, sir. Thank you. You have 3 minutes. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, my name is Juan Avella. I live on 426 Burchett Street. I have 2 daughters, age 3 and age 1. And, you know, I want to start by saying that I oppose this construction. Basically, as my neighbors have expressed, of course, with the parking and everything, I'm very concerned about drunk drivers and the amount of extra traffic that will be increased. I already struggled with walking my daughters on a stroller and people not being careful enough. Many times I've had to pull the stroller back to avoid being run over, you know, either crossing the street on Pacific or simply on Burchett, because as everyone has expressed, you know, it's already a street that has many businesses. Not only do we have the park, but we also have Starbucks, where it's already collapsed, and you have many people parking in and around Starbucks for extra amounts of time. We also have the Embassy Suite all the way down in Burchett. Their employees park also on Burchett Street. And Acapulco, the restaurant that's on the corner opposite of this potential construction, already has a noise. You know, they have music at night, and I can hear it all the way in my house. So by also having, you know, I'm concerned also because of noise in this new construction. As they said, they do have an outside, they're going to have outside areas. I've been to many parties at banquet halls where, you know, you have to open and close doors. That noise from inside will be heard, especially if they have outside areas where people are going to be coming in and out from. And yes, there's going to be more drunk individuals, more drunk driving. We don't have enough parking. And I also feel like this noise is not only going to be at night, because I mean, a banquet hall will try to get as many events as they can. And you know, we know there's many times banquet halls in the area of Glendale that hold communions or graduations during the day. You know, so I fear this will not only be at night; it will be throughout the day, if not more. I also think, like, you know, this is really already a residential area. You know, I don't see how this helps the community. A pharmacy was great because it really did help the community. It's one of our basic needs, and it had enough, plenty, ample parking, so it wasn't an issue. But something like this, it's clearly just a business for that I feel like should be in a place that's more specific, you know. These are pretty much my concerns. I don't think they should be granted a permit because it just simply, the parking limitation is just absurd among, besides the
Mr.
other
Avila,
problems.
thank you, sir. Your time is wrapped, but I received your comments. Thanks again. Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good day. And that is all the calls we have today.
One of the call that was dropped off was the same person?
That person has not called back.
Okay, so let me know
If they do, I'll keep an eye on it. Thank you.
Okay.
Question here.
It's,
What's the maximum capacity of that?
okay, we can have that conversation now. Let's call the applicant. I would like to have the applicant and the owner to come forward for any rebuttal. You will have 5 minutes, and then after that, I will have questions for you.
Hello. Any specific questions? Or my name is Abraham, last name Stepanian. I'm the current applicant, and I'd like to address a couple of concerns I heard people say. One of them is, let me start off with the parking. So parking, we are going to use valet. We have no intentions to park on the street, just like on our current property we have. We have enough current parking that our employees on a daily will park. And then when we use that specific lot for events, the 50 that we have remaining is only for single-use parking. When the valet uses that spot, they can actually fit close to 100 cars because they park one after tandem. And then on the same lot currently, we have so that doubles the amount of spaces we have. And then on the current lot, on the back space, we have extra parking that belongs to the building in the back of us. That is a possibility. On the same lot, there's another building, office building.
Oh, so you're talking about the neighboring commercial building?
Yes. So
Okay.
our events technically start after 6 p.m. and everybody shuts down after 5 p.m. So we'd most likely use the other lot too for parking, which are overflow, which our valet will use. So with that having in mind, we have plenty of spaces to fit the people that come into our events. And just to bring up another point, let's say we have a event that is about, let's say, 150 people. No, but that doesn't mean we need 150 spaces. That's about 70 cars, because people come in couples, and people take transportation, and they use Uber and things like this. So from my experience being in the banquet hall business for over 6 years now, just to say a number, 100 people event brings in about 40 cars. So I don't want people to say, oh, if we guys have an event of 300 people, that's going to be 300 cars. That's never the case. Also, I was going to address, besides parking, I also want to let you guys know that we only cater to private events. We're not an open restaurant. We are only open, usually, our private events take place Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. Monday through Thursday, it's pretty quiet. You're hardly ever gonna see any action at the place, just like we have now. You're only gonna see our employees. You're not even gonna notice them because there's only about 5 of them during the daytime. And then during the weekends, our events technically start like 6 p.m. and usually end around 12 a.m. And then my other concern was we don't have a restaurant, it's only private.
And one thing to add, this is Araz Parsegian, by the way, the applicant. As far as parking, rideshare has been very predominant lately in the industry. I've represented other banquet hall owners, and they do account for how many people are going to come and how many cars they are projected to see. And it is a quality of service for their business as well, so they do the utmost background to make sure that they have the capacity to park these cars. And the adjacent property will be an overflow. They're probably not going to need it 80% of the time. And as far as tandem parking is concerned, they get pretty creative there. It's like Tetris. They do a great job. I've seen it, seen the operations, and the other location that they have, they actually have zero parking, and they're able to have an intake of almost 200 cars, and they're able to park those and without any impact to the community. That's the cool thing about their operation, is the impact to the community. They try to eliminate any kind of noise as much as possible. They have security on site at all times. They have personnel on site at all times, and the upkeep for the facility, there won't be any trash around, and they're very strict about people parking on streets.
Okay, thank you.
Can I add one more thing? Just want to let you guys know, he did mention the
So I can hear him.
he did mention on every event we have 4 security guards. That's minimum. 2 are armed at all times, and we provide the highest trained security anybody can offer. Just want to let you guys know. And then another point, when people are saying why would anyone use valet, so usually the person that's having their event pays for valet. So there's no reason for anyone arriving to a wedding not to use the valet. It's not like they're paying the $20 out of pocket. So it's prepaid for the events. So in this case,
You're not going to charge for the valet parking?
no, usually,
during the
let's say the bride and the groom, that's part of the services they pay for. It's prepaid. So that's 95% of the time. So from my experience, what I've seen, everybody prefers valet parking. It's like going to a wedding. Why would you want to park your car 2 blocks away and walk? That doesn't make any sense.
Okay. So I will have some questions for both of you, and then if needs, I will ask the designer of the project also to come forward. First, I want to see if you reviewed the recommended conditions of approval.
Yes, the 51 conditions, we did review it.
Did you review it one by one, and you are ready to comply
Yes.
if these conditions become the conditions for the approval?
Yes, they're satisfactory.
I would like to focus on a couple of them. So if this is approved, these 2 entitlements, they're valid only for 5 years. That's one of the conditions. So that means before they expire, you have to apply for new applications, and then we will restudy the situation at that time again to see if we can grant it. So that's why we have this condition here as a recommended condition. I'm not saying this will be approved or denied, I'm just going over the conditions. You're not going to have any live entertainment in the outdoor area or any dancing in the outdoor area. That's another condition. You need to have always on-site manager to be present at the event. And your manager should be fully aware of any conditions of approval if there's going to be an approval. So that's another condition here. And then you mentioned you're going to have 4 security guards.
That's minimum.
That's the minimum. And that would be for the outside parking area,
Inside, outside.
inside and outside. The,
They alternate, they walk around, and I've seen at times 6 security
Yeah, it
guards.
depends. When I say minimum, it can go up to 6, it can go up to 7. Or the smallest event, even, let's say it's 50 people, requirement will be 4 security guards.
You're not going to be allowed to store anything on the site, in the parking area, that's another condition.
It has plenty of, behind the building, it has plenty of space there for the trucks to come, which is not gonna affect any of the community. It's gonna be tucked in. They have bays that they unload. It's right by the freeway.
And also, no residential street parking is allowed by customer or valet services.
Yes.
You're aware of that? Now, you're anticipating how many employee you will have for this place? And where are the parking spaces for them to use?
So during the weekdays, we only have about 4 to 5 employees, which can use our on-site parking. And then during the weekends, we have about 10 to 14 employees. And these people can use our on-site parking as well, because just seeing what's going on currently with the existing lot, and if we do end up adding the lot next door, I mean, that's plenty of space.
Okay. While we get to that lot next door, let me finish reading the conditions for you. These are part of the conditions, not all of them, of course. The drop-off and pickup area for the customer should be fully contained within the project site, not on the street.
It's on the complete other side, it's pretty private. The drop-off location is close to the freeway on our lot. Not on Bruchette.
Okay. And whatever is approved as part of the tenant improvement or modification to the existing building, that cannot be changed. And I still need to ask question about the modification to the existing building for the designer and for you. Before moving to that, let me I think unless you have concern for the conditions, I'm going to over my questions for you.
We've reviewed it, and we're good with the conditions.
Okay. So part of the questions for the valet parking, you already addressed that they're not the customers, the guests for the banquet hall. They're not going to pay when they are parking. So that would be part of like almost free parking for the guests when they are arriving, right? You said you have some other similar businesses.
Yes.
Can you explain more about, are they in Glendale?
It's on Los Feliz, 3070 Los Feliz.
Okay. So I assume you already have a business model, how to run the business, because you already have one.
Yes.
Okay. So with that, when you're telling me that there is a possibility to use the parking spaces from the adjacent commercial building, I'm not sure at this point, was there any discussion with the next door landlord and business owners? Is there any lease agreement in place? Can you explain that for me?
There has been discussions, and we will definitely get into more discussions on secure lease. To give you an example, the current location we have, we're using our valet services to park the cars in a lot that's located right up front, which is a car wash. So we're taking our cars to the car wash and using them to park our current cars at our existing venue. So, and this is much harder to do than what we're facing now, which is on our existing lot. Makes sense?
Okay. And then if it happens, you're going to use Burchett? Do they have access to the Burchett for that next door building? The commercial building that you were talking?
Haven't gotten there yet. At
You're
this
not.
point. We don't, the logistics, we haven't gone through it, but obviously, it depends on where we go today. That'll make the determination how aggressive we're going to be on signing the leases, agreements, and feasibility of parking there.
Okay, so it's, okay.
And of course, the city staff will be informed, and that will be the part of the process, yeah. We'll let you guys know, basically.
So when and why we didn't know, we haven't been informed so far. That's probably my
Informed
concern and
about-
question.
Informed about,
That if there's going to be a lease agreement to use the parking
no, there will
spaces?
be, we just haven't pursued it at this point. There is a interest, they said yes, but we don't want to go into a lease if we're not 100%. yes.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
I understand. You answered the question for the employee. Mr. Lambert, can you bring up the site plan? I want to see the area of the smoking, designated area for the smoking.
Okay. Well, yes, one of the conditions, let me bring up
If
the
you
site
can
plan.
probably just show me the site plan.
Yeah. There is no designated area yet, but according to the conditions, we're preliminarily speaking, establishing an outdoor smoking area on the deck only because it's farther away from the existing residences. But they would have
Is
to,
this your desire to put the smoking area on the deck area, on the east side of the building? And is this the raised deck? I had hard time finding the concept or design of this deck on the drawings. It is on the site plan, but I couldn't find it on the elevation drawings or even on any other. Yes, please. Thank you.
should I sit down?
You may have a seat, and I will call again. I don't want you to stand.
Good morning, my name is Alan Maliki, and I'm the project architect. I will address your question, but I want to go over a couple of items that was brought up, strictly about sound, as well as some of the questions about parking and so forth. So first things first, we're not asking for a zone change, nor a brand-new building. It's not a brand-new project. It is an existing building that in past history, there was a Murray calendar. After that, there was a commercial retail space. Now we're converting that to a banquet hall, which is a current allowed use. The conditional use permit is used for conditions that will mitigate the noise factors and other factors there. The building itself is built out of a masonry, CMU wall. It is the same material that is around the freeways that you use all throughout state of California to mitigate noise that is coming out. So the noise factor that you will hear, it will be substantially more from the freeway than the building itself. The event that is going to take place within the building, it is divided by another wall that is going to be the lobby. So when the event is taking place or any live music that is happening within the building, the doors will be closed with the additional layers of insulation that will be going against the CMU wall, which is the highest density material you can find to reduce the
And
dB.
those are the materials you're showing on the detailed drawings as an attachment to the staff report that was provided.
Well, I will explain about the outdoor area as
No, I'm
well.
talking about the interior work
I'm
that you're
talking about the
doing.
interior, so I don't
Installation
know
that
if-
you're proposing on the interior walls.
So the interior wall, the exterior walls are CMU wall.
Mm-hmm.
They're 8-inch, in some cases, they're 10-inch and 12-inch CMU wall, solid
Mm-hmm.
concrete wall. Within that, there's going to be layers of insulation with the drywall that are going to get added insulation as well as the interior decorations that we're going to have. Within the area, there's going to be only 2 exit doors that are going to be leading out directly from the hall, which is going to be used as an emergency door. So any potential noise that can come out of the space can be through those two specific doors, which you see one, if you zoom out a little bit, you see one at the corner. One is called the D106, and there's another one that is facing down south or east towards Pacific.
Okay.
The additional layer of additional walls that you see, the darker wall between the hall and the lobby itself, we have another additional 12-inch concrete wall there that is also insulated with drywall and insulation between the hall and the lobby itself.
Okay.
So if anybody needs to leave, which most likely will, they'll leave from the front door, which you'll have to go through a set of double doors. So it'll be basically a vestibule between the hall and the outside door. So the sound mitigation is done as best as it can be at any event scenario that you can have. And the building itself governs for the best insulation possible there.
Is this part of the installation that you propose part of the building and safety requirements, or it's voluntary?
That is absolutely voluntary. It is a commercial building, it's not residential, so energy upgrade, it's a voluntary.
Okay.
All the energy is being met with the high-efficiency air conditioning units and so on and so forth. So on that case, as far as the parking, what Abraham and ours was mentioning about the negotiation with it, that is just a negotiation. We are asking for the AB 2097. It is the law. It is allowed to be asked. Any project, any property within the state of California can request a parking reduction if they're within a half-a-mile distance to a bus transit. As a matter of fact, starting January, it'll get less restrictive as it is now. So the conditions are loosening, and you're going to see a lot more of that. It is fortunate and unfortunate, but we're not here to question the law itself. That is something that can be addressed up in the Sacramento area. But as far as we are concerned, we are meeting all the requirements. The only conditions that we're given, which I think it'll be addressed. As far as and I believe I mentioned, this building is right next to a freeway. So unfortunately, the noise will be much higher in my opinion, from the freeway noise than any sound that will come out of the building that is completely insulated and controlled with the CMU. As far as the parking itself, it is there. It is a commercial use. It is a commercial corner that has been there for as long as I moved to Glendale, 1982, and Marie Callender has been there, and there's always been a commercial corner. So there's nothing new in that. As a matter of fact, across the street, there's a restaurant use as well. So, I mean, over there, the parking and the operation is 24-hour or as long as the entire duration of the week, whereas ours is only primarily in the weekends.
Sure. Can you also address the east side raised deck?
Yes. So as you know, we have a retention basin, and our goal is to create a level exit or a deck level that is going to be level with the interior finish. So the double doors that are going to open up from the building, they're going to have access directly out onto the deck. Currently, as we had designed it originally, what we had done was my intention was to maintain the retention basin as it was and to have a floating deck which is level with the finished floor and allow the dirt underneath to maintain.
Can you tell me approximately how much is raised from the natural ground level?
Okay, let me just continue on that. It is actually on the grade itself, and it will be a very slight regrading at the edges because where the basin is actually lower, so it's going to float over. The new design that we have come up with, which is going to be a better design in my opinion and less maintenance and much more functional, is that we're going to actually build a concrete over and we're going to redo the basin as a containment area. So it's a brand new containment area with the added surface area that we're adding. we're gonna have to increase that anyways. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a larger basin that is gonna be a contained area underneath. Our civil engineers have already worked on it, our structural engineers working on the deck itself. As far as the mitigation for the sound, I didn't talk about for the exterior part of the outdoor gathering area. Again, we're using the CMU wall, which is gonna be 8 foot tall. So anybody that is standing there would not be visible from outside unless you actually, try to look over the wall, but no one is gonna be seeing anybody standing there because the wall itself is 8 foot tall as far as around the perimeter of this outdoor area.
You're talking about the deck area.
I'm talking about the deck area, correct. And that is similar to the opposite side, which is the west side, which is the parking lot.
And then you're proposing walls
CMU.
on the other side, on the
Absolutely.
open patio area.
Absolutely,
course.
and some planting, and so it would work with the architecture of the
Okay.
building.
Going back to my question, approximately how much it is raised from the natural grade?
It is actually on the
On
grade
the grade,
itself.
with wall,
With
up
with an 8-foot wall from the inside with approximately about a 24-inch of retaining condition around the perimeter.
okay, so we're not dealing with, like raised deck, leveling with the top of the roof or in the middle of the building?
No. What it is that it's actually level. The finished grade elevation that you see, it says 521.30, that's the finished elevation. The deck area is about a 1/4 inch
Okay.
or a 1/2 inch lower so that you have the handicap accessibility requirements. And then you actually asked one question about the parking. The parking reduction was correct, as Alan mentioned. The elimination of the driveway, we lost parking at that location for the outdoor area. We also updated the existing parking with the proper handicap parking, accessible parking spaces that we need. And because of the gate that we added on so that people would use the drop-off area, the parking right next to the adjacent space that was created so that we would have a landscape area. So that was added on. So that's the loss of the parking itself, to buffer between the outside or the drop-off area and the back parking
You're
area.
losing some spaces, and we will have 50 available spaces?
Correct.
Okay. I think those are my questions
Thank you.
for you. Thank you so much. If you don't mind coming forward again, both of you, thank you so much. My question to you, what are the hours of operation for your other business, that you have similar business?
Until 1 a.m.
1 a.m. And then what time usually they start?
Usually we start 6 p.m.
6 p.m. How many guests you're anticipating in the maximum for the banquet hall?
I would say up to 300.
So do you have spaces for the
That's on
tables
a
and-
maximum.
Maximum.
Average, I would say about 150.
Average 150. And the area of the outdoor patio to the west, and also the new deck area to the east side. So what is the relationship between these 3 banquet hall and these 2 other outdoor spaces? How they're gonna work? Is it something that you will have 3 different events on 3 different locations, or how they're connected? Like, can you explain that to me?
So the outside is not used for events at all.
Outside, which outside?
Outside patios.
Adjacent to the parking.
Yes.
Okay.
So I would call that as a station where people can have tea and have coffee and just kind of mingle.
People of the event, or?
People of the event, yes.
Okay.
Because it is a private event, so the only people that would use the courtyards are the people having the event at the
Same
current time.
event in the banquet
Yes,
hall?
yes.
Okay,
To answer your question, one event at a time, there won't be multiple events.
yes, that was my, okay. And then on the other side, the deck area?
Same concept, maybe, we're trying our best not to have people leave the banquet hall to, let's say, have a smoking break or if they need to talk. So that courtyard is efficient to keep everybody inside, not to travel to the streets. So rather than them going outside, they just go to the courtyard and have a smoking break, coffee break, or talk if they want some break.
Okay. One event at a time.
Always one event at a time. If you guys pass by our events, which is at 3070 Los Feliz, Friday night, and at 10 p.m., there's no way you're gonna see or notice we're having an event and there's 150 people inside having a party. So it's pretty quiet.
Thank you for that explanation.
Just to point this out too, we've never had a noise complaint and we've been in business for 6 years. So we're pretty strict on making sure noise doesn't travel.
And the other property is up against multiple residential properties as well, on both sides.
Okay.
Just to bring up a point, just like he said, the existing properties on Edenhurst, and there's multiple residential houses attached to the building. And as I mentioned, we've yet to have a complaint about noise. There's no way you can know there's a party going on inside. And
Okay, and there's not going to be any third party to lease the space, and
No.
that would be only one business owner conducting?
Yes.
It would be you, okay. Are you planning, maybe Mr. Malikian also can involve answering that question, are you planning to have any modification to the existing parking spaces in terms of adding landscaping, lighting? My concern is more of lighting, any light poles, anything in that sort?
Yeah, some of, as Mr. Malikian mentioned, there was a couple of parking spaces taken for landscaping. There's going to be new landscaping done, and that's going to be part of it, correct?
No new light, okay. However, the area should have lighted, but
Yes.
I don't want the light to be raised or on the pole, okay. At this point, I think I covered all of my questions for you, unless you have any other comments or?
Just want to make a comment for the neighbors. We're pretty open to, you can walk in anytime and talk to us. If there's a car parked and you guys think it's having to do with the venue, I myself will make sure that car gets removed. So we're open to working with the community. Just call us, walk in, anything, you know? We'll make sure we have no problems.
You reminded me of something that I was going to ask you. You saw the hours, recommended hours of operation on the conditions of approval. If the hours be shorter than what it is recommended right now, do you think that you can still run your business?
No.
But you said the other business is closing at 1 a.m.
Not in Glendale, the constitution is a little bit.
Yeah, because currently we're surrounded by other banquet halls in the facility, and that'll hurt our business because,
They're open till
yeah, they're open till 2. Why am I open till 1?
Can you repeat one more time?
So in the area, let me just, in Glendale area, there's a lot of banquet halls, and they all close at 2 a.m. So from a customer's point of view, why am I closing at 1 a.m. and when they can go next door?
Because there are special circumstances in the area that you're opening a new banquet hall.
That'll definitely hurt our business.
You're absolutely right, and, the other banquet halls actually have gone through the same process, and I've worked on one myself, and that was not a discussion at that, and actually I had more residential in the vicinity. So I think the 2 o'clock is fair.
Okay, thank you so much. Do we have the caller?
We have one caller online.
Let's have him
Okay.
or her to speak, please.
Sure thing. Thank you, Planning Hearing Officer Babakani. Mr. Mike Gunes, thank you for holding. I appreciate your holding. Can you hear me? Can you hear us on the line here? Oh. Okay. It looks like he just dropped off.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you all for coming. I heard all of you. And this hearing is now officially closed at 11:08 a.m. This case will be taken under submission, and then since I have your mailing addresses, you will receive a copy of the decision letter when the decision is made. Thank you.